Now and everybody, welcome back to the channel, one in which you guys for some reason seem to enjoy watching me fanning around with cars. Well, today is no different. This is the real beast from the east, and for those of you that aren't aware, this is the OG. It's the original, it's the one that started the fire. It's my first ever Lada Niva. I got this many years ago now. Paid 430 quid on it on eBay. Find some pictures, I'll put the pictures. It was in bog standard condition, needed a bit of work to get it through its MOT. The day after I got it, basically, it had an MOT on it, had some welding to do on sills. It's massively modified, it's got a full 6-point FIA roll cage, custom interior, BMW M3 seats, not M3, just 3 Series actually. Custom arch flares, front and rear cross member and quarter chops. It's on Daihatsu 4-track rims. These are Fedima Scirocco 225 R15 tyres. Custom sills, which as you can see have had a hard life. Unfortunately, nothing that exciting is going to be happening today. All we're going to do is get this in the workshop because it's time for it to go back on the road. If you're currently wondering what's happened to the Yellow Bear, stick around to the end and we go through it then, explain what's happening, what the plan is, basically. Now you're thinking to yourself, well, that's easy, Brian. You're going to pull it forward, back it in the garage. But I'm afraid that's not the case. Observe the interior. As you can see, the last time this was on the road, it was straight after I'd been to a play day. And at the time, I didn't have any kind of cleaning facilities. So the poor thing is being covered in mud. It won't have done it any good. But there is the reason why we can't just drive this straight into the garage. It's missing the gearbox, which is kind of a fundamental part to moving a vehicle. There's also been a cat sign here, which is kind of annoying because that's going to be a ball ache to clean up. And then also, on top of that, if we lift the bonnet, you'll notice an engine that's not normally sat in there. That is a Mercedes OM601, which I'm hoping to fit into this. But more on that later. First things first, we've got to get this hooked up to the van. The main issue is it's just me. Our lass is at work, so she can't steer it. So I'm going to try and get this in the garage with the van and steer this at the same time, if you get my drift. So I'm going to be sat in the van, having to jump in and out of the van to then be able to turn the wheel to get it into the garage. I don't do anything easy. On top of that, we are on literally just soil with the old flatbed 307D with its road tyres on. No weight on the back of it. So the traction on it at the best of times isn't great. Never mind when it's pushing this big old pig. So let's crack on with it and get on. Summer of '69. Oh, yeah. All right. In case you were wondering, to cap it all, it's now raining. By the way, the tow bar doesn't hook over the ball. Something I want to do later on is modify it so that I can have a ball receiver on the tow bar. It'll make life a lot easier. I'm a freaking genius, man. I have done this a couple of times now. With a variety of cars. Yeah, I reckon HSE would approve this. All right, so the plan is we're going to pull it forward. I'm going to put some left-hand lock on the ladder, get it to swing over, and then we're going to back up, full left lock to get it backed into the workshop. I also don't know if the steering lock works on this thing, so it might not work at all, this situation. We'll find out. Time will tell. The steering lock works to an extent. Let's straighten that up. Bit of rock for underneath the tyre. I think I might have been wrong about this steering lock. I get the impression it doesn't work at all. Bloody self-steering, this lad. You know, it would be great right now if I had a workshop to work in. That'd be awesome. See if this works, shall we? Oh, I could really do without having to fanny around undoing that ratchet. You see, I'd put it on that side thinking it would allow me to get clearance on the house when I turn, but I'm going to have to go on this side because it's pushing the van sideways. It's raining. Of course it is. Because I'm working outside. Why wouldn't it rain for me outside? Yeah. Sorted. Hopefully this is going to work this time. Time will tell. There we go. Oh, she's going to go in? Unbelievable, Jeff. I would have liked it to have been a bit more central, but beggars can't be choosers. So we're just going to live with it. I think that's our limit. Looks like we're mandrolicking it in now.
After many minutes of putting my recently healed back through strain,
That ain't going to happen.
the secret weapon was revealed.
Front wheel drive, front wheel steer, front engined. Let's see if she does the job. Get a bit of traction on the old girl. Let's go. Hopefully this should work. Slippery mud. Don't let our lass watch this video of me using the car to get this in garage. Oh yeah, she's doing exactly what I wanted to do. Nice. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, couldn't do it better myself. Day one of having a white workshop floor. By the way, these mops are phenomenal. This is our lass's mop, and I'm currently borrowing it. But to be honest, she does know it's in the workshop. I'm kind of hoping she's going to forget that it's in here so that it can live in here, because I like the square shape and it fits nicely in one of the corners. It also does a really good job. I like it a lot. So you like put it in there and it scrapes all the dirt off as you go along. It's really good. I like it. It's cool. It's also got like this swivel head, which does a good job of stopping any crap being left behind. I like that. It's just getting dirty, so you put it in here. You know, I'm not a big one for fancy novelty mops. I always think they're a bit of a waste of time, but this is the best idea for a mop upgrade, if you'd like, that I've ever had yet. Or should I say, our lass has ever had yet. So I can imagine there being two questions running through everybody's minds right now. The first one being, where's the yellow bear and why have we got this knackered old white thing in the garage? And the second one being, what is the plans, or what are the plans for the knackered white thing? So we'll answer the first question first. The yellow bear is still going ahead. Don't worry about that. But this is the priority because our lass currently drives around in a Fiat Tipo, which was not featured, by the way, in the making of this video. Everybody knows that. Yeah, that's our little secret. And she doesn't like it. It's soulless. She's actually a bit of a car fan. She used to have a Fiat 500 Abarth. So she doesn't like a Tipo. It's a bit soulless. She wants something cheap to repair, cheap to run around in, but fun. Hence, the OG is revived. So this is going to be my good lady's daily driver. The advantage of it is it's right-hand drive. She likes right-hand drive. She's never driven a left-hand drive. So we're going to stick with right-hand drive. The plans for this old girl, and that's why we've got to get this done first, by the way, because we want to get rid of the Tipo. So we've got this on the car. It's one less on the road, sorry. It's one less car lying around. The plans for this are, we've got some front chassis rail reinforcement panels. I am eventually going to make these myself, I think, and sell them as kit form, if anybody's ever interested. So that's for the future, though. Right now, I can't even remember where I got these from. I got them directly out of Russia. But yeah, got this kit here ready to put on because the front chassis rails are just starting to come through. I have patched these before, way back when I first got it. Those bits have lasted. But the issue with the Nivas is there's 3 skins on the front chassis rails. And the more skins you have on a shell, the more chance of rot. So they're notorious for rotting on these front chassis rails. The yellow bear is very bad, actually. It's one of the worst ones I've ever seen. They're notorious for rotting on those front rails because of those 3 skins. So the easiest way is chop any rot out, bang these over the top, and weld them on. And it makes it super duper strong and a lot more rot free and rot resistant, shall we say. We've also got to rebuild the back axle because the slave cylinders were leaking. The last time I took it off-roading, they got some dirt in them, caused it to leak. So I've just got new back plates, full kit basically, bolt straight onto the axle. But what we're going to do is we're going to build the axle up off the chassis. So I've got a spare axle casing lying around. I'll just fully build out the axle off the chassis. We're going to truss the axle and we're going to put these new brake linings on. We're just going to use the existing brake drums, sorry, because the drums are in good nick. But while we're at it, I am umming and ahhing, and hear me out here. Now, I'm not a big lift kit fan, but this isn't going to get used off-road too much. And when it is, it's going to be getting used predominantly by my good lady. So she won't be pushing it as hard as I would when I'm like trialing and stuff like that. So I'm tempted, because of the conversion that's going to come after what I'm talking about now, to put a lift kit on it and be able to fit 33s. We're getting 33s on the yellow one, but that's going to have massive bodywork modifications. You know, this has got bodywork alterations on it, but not to the extent that the yellow one's going to have. So this is made to fit 30-inch tyres off the top of my head without a lift kit. With a lift kit, we'd be able to fit 33s, relatively comfortable. Something like a 40mm lift kit, which is actually what's on the yellow bear. So I could swap it straight onto this. But what I can do, if I do that, is the axle truss that I make for the back axle, I can build the suspension lift into the axle truss. It'll look a lot more professional, a lot smarter. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the lift kit, especially bearing in mind the engine conversion I'm planning to do to it. So I'm planning to fit a Mercedes OM601, which is a 4-cylinder 2.2 litre diesel off the top of my head, potentially with a turbo conversion as well. But then also it's going to have a Mercedes Vito 6-speed gearbox connected to it as well. And I'm hoping, initially I was going to get all complicated and overworked about it, but I'm hoping the way that I'm going to do it is going to make it really simple. I was trying to do it so that anybody could do the conversion. but it's not going to be the case. The way I was planning on doing it, you'd have to move the clutch and brake master cylinders and servo, the brake servo as well. So it was going to get overcomplicated. The way that I'm thinking about doing it now means building a whole new transmission tunnel, essentially, and moving the engine across a little bit. So we're going to OM601 with a turbo, 6-speed Mercedes Vito gearbox because obviously it's going to have so much more torque with the diesel, with the potential 33-inch tyres just for road use, and the 40mm lift. Followed up that if our lass ever wants to take it off-roading prim and proper, we can just put the 29s, these are 29s, we can just put the 29s back on and it won't do any major harm that the 33s would end up doing. The other thing we're going to do is it's going green, it's going Kawasaki green, because that's Rachel's favourite colour. One of the worst modifications I ever did to this car was painting it with Raptor. And I followed the rules to the T. It was during lockdown. I had loads of time on my hand. My good mate Henry, if he's watching this, all right, came and gave me a hand. We spent ages prepping it. We took it right back down. It was a back to bare metal paint job, primed with U-Pol epoxy primer, and then we put this on top of it. We used adhesion promoter in the tough to get to areas. We around where the window seals are, we just used we actually brushed on standard paint. This was tinted. I can't remember what it was tinted with, but it was tinted, and I followed the rules to the book. And I think bedliner paint work jobs might be all right if you do green laning and you got some branches brushing against your paintwork and stuff like that. In that case, tip top. If you are competing, trialing, rallying, stuff like that, and you're going to smash it into rocks and everything like that, waste of time. Just a complete and utter waste of time. All it does is it dinks, and because it's not flexible in any way, shape or form, it just breaks off in great chunks. I mean, I've reapplied it in several places. Look at the sills. Every time a rock hits the sill, it just chips it off. It's just not flexible. So this is going to get taken back down. I'm hoping, because it's so brittle, I'm hoping I'll just be able to chip it off in great chunks. And then it's just going to get painted Kawasaki green, because green is Rachel's favorite color. Then it's going to have a nice big spare wheel carrier on the back, holding a big chunky tire. It's going to look it's going to be a bit of a pavement princess, but still going to get used for off-roading. I might put some bigger mirrors on, and these are Tex wing mirrors. They're made in the UK. A lot of British classic cars have Tex wing mirrors, but they're a bit small. They were all right while I was driving, but while Rachel was driving, I'd rather have some big mirrors. So I'm thinking about some big truck-style mirrors, just to go rear of the quarter lights. I think that'd look quite smart, especially if we get some bigger tyres on it. So that's the plans. Let me know what you think to that suspension lift idea. I'm not a suspension lift fan, but with the extra torque that this is going to have and the fact that it's going to be used predominantly on the road, if I use CV drive shafts, prop shafts, rather than the UJ prop shafts, we can fit 33s to it. It'll make it a nice road handling car. And then, like I say, drop down to the 29s when she wants to take it off-roading. Yeah, let me know what you guys think of that suspension lift idea. It just goes against the grain with me, but that's just the way it is. That's it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you're seeing, this is the extent that we go to on this channel, modifying like mad. Give us a subscription. It's very much appreciated. Like the video. Leave a comment. You got a Lada. And share it with a friend who has a Lada that they need to modify. Until the next one. Cheers for now.